Colonel Sanders, I've always wondered, why do people call you the Colonel?
I actually don't like to talk about it, but it's because my body's the size of a corn kernel. See? People think it's my tie, but it's actually my body. Heh, try to unsee that one.
Okay. How did I never notice this before?
Head tipped over again. A little help here?
Internet, welcome to Food Theory, the only show online with 11 secret curses and spices. Today we're talking about whether a fast food mascot can put a hex on you. No joke, it is a legitimate thing that real, sensible people actually believe, and I don't care who you are, fast food voodoo magic is just finger-licking good theory fodder. You see, a few years ago, Steph and I had the good fortune to go on vacation to Japan, and one of our traditions whenever we travel abroad is to visit at least one American fast food franchise just to see how it's different through another cultural lens. Pizza Hut in Egypt, it's practically fine dining. The McGyro in Greece, do not recommend. And in Japan, it was all about the KFC. But we also tried Krispy Kreme, which, word of warning, the creamy white donut is not what you'd expect. It is not cream-filled and delightful, but rather filled with mayonnaise and mushrooms with a dusting of onion powder on the outside. So just be aware of that one before you take a big old bite out of it like I did. Anyway, KFC. We were shocked to see it on pretty much every street corner. I mean, I love their mashed potatoes as much as the next guy, don't get me wrong, but like, does it really need to appear with a frequency to rival Starbucks? Well, you see, Kentucky Fried Chicken and Japan have this incredible and long-standing relationship. Japan is the third biggest KFC market in the world, behind only China and the US, with over 1,100 restaurants. So why is Kentucky Fried Chicken so big in such a small country? In one word, Christmas. See, the most prevalent religions in Japan are Shintoism and Buddhism, which means that Christmas traditions, as we understand them, have been slower to catch on in Japan than a lot of other countries. But in 1970, Takeshi Okawara, the manager of the first KFC in Japan, sought to change all that. He started promoting fried chicken party barrels as a fun substitute for the traditional American turkey Christmas dinner, which apparently they think is a thing. I don't know about you, but I've never had a traditional Christmas turkey. I think most of our Christmas meals at this point entail like soggy pierogies that have been left in a reheating tin for a bit too long, and maybe if we're lucky, like half honey-baked ham, provided we found the $10 off coupon that they put in like the paper. Anyway, it started to catch on. So in 1974, KFC came out with a long-running Japanese ad campaign to encourage people to, quote, eat Kentucky for Christmas.
Kentucky Christmas!
Kentucky Christmas! Kentucky Christmas!
Kentucky Christmas!
Today, roughly 5% of KFC Japan's annual sales occur on or immediately around Christmas Eve. And in the wake of the wildly successful Kentucky Christmas campaign, life-sized statues of Colonel Sanders became fixtures in front of KFCs across the country, often getting dressed up in Santa suits for the holidays. They also happen to get dressed up for all sorts of other reasons because Japan is awesome. But when they're not wearing again, would not recommend. Apparently, these statues are also placing curses on Japan's national athletes. You heard that right. Today, we're playing Ghostbusters as we look into the mysterious curse of Colonel Sanders to see if the Colonel lives on to haunt the people of Japan. According to numerous English language sources I found, the story goes a little something like this. Japan's Nippon Professional Baseball Organization consists of 12 teams, 6 in the Central League and 6 in the Pacific League. Since 1950, the Japan Series has pitted the Central League winner against the Pacific League winner in a best-of-7 game series to determine the overall NPB champion. It's basically their equivalent of the World Series. From 1950 through 1984, the Central League's Hanshin Tigers failed to win the Japan Series once. So when 1985 rolled around and the Tigers started to put in a really good season, their long-deprived fans were understandably excited. On October 16th, 1985, the Tigers finally managed to win their first Central League title in 21 years, and the fans go berserk. And when the Tigers then proceed to win the Japan Series for the first time ever, a couple weeks later on November 2nd, the fans really go berserk. Following the Tigers' Japan Series victory, fans take to the streets in celebration. A crowd gathers at the Ibisu Bridge and they start singing cheer songs for each player in the Tigers' starting lineup. By the way, during that Japan trip, Steph and I went to a baseball game and it was straight up the best sporting event I've been to in my life. Everyone just eats hot octopus udon and cheers the entire time. Japanese fans are incredible and they are nuts about their cheer songs. So anyway, back on this bridge, at the culmination of every player's cheer song, a fan in the crowd who looked similar to that player jumps off the bridge into the water below. So dive after dive into the water goes off without a hitch until they hit a certain player on the team, Randy Bass, an American player in Japan who looks a little something like this. Go figure, the crowd didn't exactly have an abundance of bearded Caucasian dudes to choose from, so they had to get creative. It didn't take long to find their Randy Bass doppelganger standing in front of a nearby Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant.
People who looked like the members of the team had to jump off the bridge. They couldn't find anyone who looked like a gaijin, Randy Bass, the bearded American batsman, so they nicked the Colonel from outside a KFC and they chucked him off a bridge.
That's right, one of the Colonel Sanders statues got tossed off the bridge as part of the fans' revelry. And that's when an interesting thing happened. The defending champion Tigers immediately returned to their losing streak. In fact, they proceeded to place dead last in the Central League 10 of the next 16 seasons. Today, 35 years later, the Tigers still haven't won a second title, and it's not looking like they'll pull it off this season either. Now, if you're familiar with baseball, you know that notorious losing streaks and supernatural curses go together like peanuts and Cracker Jack, or like cheer songs and udon if you're watching in Japan. The Boston Red Sox, who went nearly a century without a World Series title, had the curse of the Bambino. The Chicago Cubs, who also had a ridiculously long title drought, had the curse of the Billy Goat. And after the Hanshin Tigers fell shy of the Japan Series title decade after decade, the legend of the Colonel Sanders statue grew into a full-blown baseball curse in its own right. Over the years, superstitious fans have made multiple attempts to recover the statue from the bottom of the canal, and finally in 2009, the statue was successfully recovered. But it didn't break the curse. The Tigers are still losing. Some say it's because the Colonel's left hand and glasses were never found. And the prevailing theory is that the Tigers won't win another championship until Colonel Sanders is made whole yet again. So that is the story, friends, but what I really want to figure out today is whether there's any validity to it. Remember, unlike a lot of other fast food mascots, Colonel Sanders was a real-life human being with an actual biography.